6 weeks after the failed summit, Earth had formed alliances with 4 moderate alien powers: the Arcturian Collective, the Proxima Conclave, and surprisingly the Corvallian Empire, now chastened by defeat, offered technological exchange. The fourth, ally, the secretive Archivist Guild, provided historical records and star charts, showing anomalies in the forbidden Seti void. The Defiance underwent extensive upgrades. Its quantum core now integrated components from allied species, creating a hybrid system more stable and powerful than before. Engineer Diane supervised the modifications, working alongside Corvallian and Arcturian specialists who once mocked human technology. Commander Abby assembled a diverse crew for the expedition into forbidden space. In addition to her trusted human officers, the mission included representatives from each allied species. The diplomatic corps objected to such cooperation, especially with the Corvallians, but Abby insisted, "We need their perspective and knowledge." The departure from Earth orbit drew little public attention. The mission, classified beyond top secret, carried official designation as a routine patrol. Yet those in power knew the truth. The Defiance sought answers about humanity's possible connection to the ancient phase shifters and the mysterious energy signature detected in the Seti void. The journey took 17 days, even with the enhanced quantum drive. The void, a region of space exhibiting unusual properties, had been declared off-limits by galactic decree 50,000 years ago. No records explained why only warnings remained in every species. Historical archives. Tactical Officer Kelly monitored sensors as they approached the boundary. "Unusual energy readings ahead," she reported. "Nothing matches known signatures." The view screen showed apparently empty space. The stars beyond seemed distorted, as if viewed through rippling water. Full stop. Abby ordered passive scans. Only Zex Kalor, the Corvallian admiral who had joined the expedition, as technical advisor, studied the readings. "Every instinct tells me to turn back," he admitted. "Our oldest legends speak of this place as death." Diane analyzed the sensor data from her station. The quantum harmonics suggest a massive cloaking field. She determined, "Something is hidden here. Something big." For 3 days, the Defiance maintained position at the edge of the void. The science team, led by Diane and her Arcturian counterpart, developed specialized probes designed to penetrate the distortion field. Each probe disappeared after transmission, sending back fragmentary data before going silent. On the 4th day, Diane made a breakthrough, analyzing the combined probe data. "The distortion follows a mathematical pattern," she explained. "It's not random A code embedded in quantum fluctuations." Using the ship's enhanced computers, she deciphered part of the sequence. "It's an access key," she announced. Almost like an invitation, Abby faced a difficult decision. The probes confirmed something massive lay hidden beyond the distortion field, but entering meant trusting the decrypted access code. If wrong, the Defiance could be destroyed. Staying meant never finding answers about the phase shifters and their connection to humanity. "Prepare the quantum core for full activation." She ordered Kelly, "Program the access sequence into our navigational array. Nicole, alert all crew to secure for possible spacetime distortion." The Defiance powered forward, its hybrid quantum drive humming with energy. As they reached the boundary, Diane transmitted the decrypted sequence. The distortion field rippled, then parted, revealing what lay beyond. Everyone on the bridge fell silent. A massive structure filled the view screen. A Dyson sphere hundreds of times larger than any known construction. Its surface, composed of interlocking geometric patterns, pulsed with internal energy. In the center, an aperture opened like a vast eye staring into space. Multiple alien languages appeared on communication channels, then resolved into Earth standard. "The homecoming protocol has been initiated. Welcome, descendants." The Defiance received automated docking instructions guiding them toward the aperture. As they approached, the scale became clearer. The sphere contained a pocket universe, a space that shouldn't exist inside normal reality. When they docked and established atmospheric compatibility, Nicole led a security team through the airlock. What they found defied expectation. The interior space stretched impossibly far, with architecture that seemed both alien and oddly familiar. A holographic guide appeared, its form shifting between different possible configurations before settling on a humanoid shape. "Welcome to Sanctuary 1. The voice resonated with harmonic undertones. "You have returned sooner than predicted. Who built this place?" Abby asked. "You did," the guide replied. "Or more precisely, your ancestors did, 50,000 years ago when they fled the collapse." The exploration team moved deeper into the structure. The walls displayed historical records showing beings nearly identical to humans, building massive ships and the Dyson sphere itself. Further in, they discovered stasis chambers, millions of pods stretched in endless rows. Each contained a sleeping form. Diane examined the nearest pod. Its occupant appeared human but with subtle differences in bone structure and neural patterns. "These aren't our ancestors," she realized with growing shock. "They're our descendants." The holographic guide confirmed her suspicion. "When the collapse threatened to destroy all sentient life, your ancestors created this sanctuary in a desperate plan. They sent colony ships backward through time, seeding Earth and dozens of other worlds with genetically modified humans." The key guide led them to a central chamber where a vast quantum computer processed data. The sanctuary was designed to preserve human consciousness while the seeded colonies evolved. The ultimate goal was to create variations of humanity specifically, adapted to fight the coming threat. Abby struggled to comprehend what threat. The answer came not from the guide but from the quantum computer itself. A visualization appeared showing a massive distortion at the galaxy's edge, the coming dark, a force that consumes reality itself. Your ancestors fought it and lost. Their final act was this temporal recursion, creating you to evolve different approaches, different technologies, hoping some variation might succeed where they failed. The team stood in stunned silence as the implications became clear. Humans weren't descendants of the ancient phase shifters. They were their precursors. The quantum technology recovered in Nevada had been sent back deliberately, part of the temporal bootstrap to accelerate human development. Diane studied the quantum engineering records. "The technology we developed matches their projections," she said. "They knew exactly how we'd improve on their designs. They counted on human innovation as the crew processed." This revelation, long-range sensors detected a massive distortion at the galaxy's edge, the first wave of the very threat their ancestors had fled across time. Abby sent an encrypted quantum transmission to Earth. "We've found our purpose," she reported. "Prepare all ships. The real war begins now." The return journey was tense but faster with knowledge gained from Sanctuary 1. The Defiance carried extensive data, including weapons designs and defensive systems developed by their future ancestors. Earth Command received the information with initial disbelief, then grim determination. Admiral Gloria initiated full production of quantum phase technology, sharing it with their new allies. The Corvallians, once enemies, now approached with a proposal. Zex Kalor presented the plan to Earth leadership. "Our weapons technology, combined with human quantum systems, creates defenses strong enough to repel the coming invasion. What you call the coming dark, we know as the Void Eaters. Our oldest prophecies speak of them." Ambassador Lisa coordinated the diplomatic agreements as species that once laughed at human ships now came as supplicants offering alliance against extinction. The ancient rivalries and prejudices faded against the existential threat. Approaching from beyond the galactic rim aboard, the Defiance now upgraded with technology from Sanctuary 1. Abby reviewed the final message from humanity's future ancestors displayed on her personal console. "We gave you time. We gave you the tools. Now save what we could not." Nicole entered the captain's quarters. "The fleet is assembled," she reported. "Over 3,000 vessels from 7 allied species, all equipped with hybrid quantum technology." Abby nodded. The quantum core technologies they had once mocked now protected them all. The Corvallian admiral, who once called human ships primitive toys, now commanded his own vessel in the United Fleet. Stepping onto the bridge, Abby took her position. The view screen showed Earth below, surrounded by the assembled Armada ships of various designs, all modified with the distinctive blue-white glow of quantum phase technology. "Open fleet channel," she ordered. The communications officer complied. All ships standing by. Abby looked at her crew, human and alien, working together. The species that had laughed at human ships would now fight alongside them, against a threat that transcended all differences. All ships prepare for quantum fold, she commanded. Set course for the galactic rim, defense pattern, Thunderbolt. As the massive fleet departed Earth, Orbit the Defiance led the formation, its quantum drive pulsing with the same energy that had torn through the Corvalian Armada, but now directed toward a greater purpose. The laughter had stopped, the survival of all began. Word spread quickly through the galactic community. Species that once dismissed humans as primitive curiosities now sent urgent diplomatic envoys. The quantum phase technology demonstrated in the Battle of Jupiter had shifted the balance of power overnight. 2 weeks after the battle, the neutral station Harmony Point orbiting Proxima Centauri b became the center of intense negotiation. Representatives from 12 major powers gathered in the Grand Council chamber. The space had been designed to accommodate diverse biological needs with varying gravity environments and atmospheric compositions. Ambassador Lisa Reyes led the Earth delegation. Her diplomatic vessel was escorted by the Defiance, its conventional exterior now recognized as a deception hiding revolutionary technology. Lisa had served 20 years in Earth Diplomatic Corps, but never imagined representing humanity in a position of sudden strength. The Corvalian Empire facing internal rebellion after their defeat sent a delegation led by Subminister Vex. Their once dominant position severely weakened, they proposed a ceasefire and normalized relations. Lisa presented Earth's terms with calm authority, recognition as a sovereign power, with all associated rights, trade, agreements with fair technology exchange, and reparations for the unprovoked attack on our fleet. The gathered representatives murmured among themselves, the Arcturian delegate a being composed of crystalline structures that shimmered with internal light spoke first. We acknowledge Earth's position and support most terms. However, the matter of quantum phase technology raises concerns. Before Lisa could respond, the chamber's main doors opened, admitting 3 robed figures. Everyone fell silent as members of the Archivist Guild entered. These keepers of galactic history rarely involve themselves in political matters. The lead archivist, a humanoid with pale translucent skin, addressed the gathering. We bring information relevant to these proceedings. Ancient records in our care speak of a phase-shifting species that nearly conquered the galaxy before mysteriously disappearing 50,000 years ago. The archival hologram activated, showing artifacts and partial ship designs with disturbing similarities to Earth's quantum technology. This revelation sent shockwaves through the chamber. The Proximan delegate, its facial tendrils writhing with agitation, pointed accusingly at Lisa. "RA humans, descendants of this ancient conqueror." Race Lisa maintained her composure, though she was as surprised as anyone. "We have no knowledge of such connection. Our quantum technology was developed independently, in a private chamber adjoining the council hall." Intelligence Officer Susan Taylor monitored the proceedings with growing concern. Her specialized implants detected subtle energy fluctuations throughout the station. Scanning deeper, she identified unauthorized modifications to the station's containment field generators. Susan activated her secure comlink. "Nicole, we have a problem," she whispered to Security Chief Nicole Bailey. "Several species are planning sabotage. They've modified the containment field." Nicole, who had accompanied the diplomatic mission, responded immediately. "What's their plan?" Susan analyzed the modifications. "Someone has linked the station's antimatter containment to a timer. If triggered, it would cause catastrophic failure. They plan to destroy everyone present and blame it on a human quantum drive malfunction." Nicole alerted Commander Abby, who remained aboard the Defiance, maintaining watch outside the station. "Begin evacuation preparations," she ordered quietly. Susan, "Find that device." Nicole, "Secure the ambassador." While negotiations continued in the main chamber, becoming increasingly heated after the archivist's revelation, Susan moved through maintenance tunnels following the energy signatures. Her scanner led her to a service junction where she discovered the sabotage device. A small quantum oscillator had been connected to the station's main power grid. Its design showed technology from multiple species. A collaborative effort to frame humanity. Susan contacted Diane aboard the Defiance, sending images of the device. "I need disarming instructions." Fast Diane studied the images. "This is sophisticated work. The oscillator is designed to trigger a cascade failure in the antimatter containment field." She sent detailed instructions for neutralization. In the council chamber, the debate had turned hostile. The Rigelian delegate, a mantis-like being, stood towering over the others. "The evidence suggests humans are either descendants of the ancient phase shifters or have somehow acquired their technology. Either possibility represents an existential threat." Lisa attempted to restore calm. "We came here in good faith after defending ourselves from unprovoked aggression." Meanwhile, Nicole moved quietly toward Ambassador Lisa. The security chief had received Susan's warning and needed to extract the ambassador without causing panic. She reached the human delegation just as her scanner detected the oscillator activating emergency evacuation. Nicole announced loudly. She grabbed Lisa, pulling her toward the exit. As alarms began blaring throughout, the station chaos erupted as delegates rushed for escape pods. Susan worked frantically in the service junction, following Diane's instructions to neutralize the device. The complexity exceeded her training. Rerouting power from auxiliary systems, she attempted to create a containment buffer around the oscillator aboard. The Defiance Abbey coordinated rescue operations, dispatching shuttles to retrieve stranded delegates. The quantum drive powered up, ready to extend a stabilization field around the station if necessary, in the maintenance tunnel. Susan succeeded in temporarily stabilizing the device but realized complete deactivation required skills beyond her training. She made a difficult decision. Rather than attempting to disarm it further, she would isolate and remove it. Activating her emergency quantum shift suit, she created a containment bubble around the oscillator. The suit technology was experimental, allowing only 30 seconds of quantum phase shifting. Susan took a deep breath and phased the device out of normal space along with herself. Her plan was to remove it from the station entirely and release it into space where it could detonate harmlessly. Nicole led Lisa and several other delegates through emergency corridors. The station's internal gravity fluctuated as systems began failing. Maintenance bots attempted to compensate for the power surges, but the sabotage had been too thorough. Susan emerged onto an outer maintenance platform, her shift suit power critically low. The oscillator hummed dangerously in her containment field. With her remaining power, she hurled the device away from the station, watching as it drifted toward open space. The explosion came seconds later. A brilliant flash as the quantum oscillator detonated. The station's shields absorbed most of the blast, but the shockwave knocked Susan backward. Her shift suit failed completely as she tumbled toward the edge of the platform. A hand grabbed her at the last moment. It was Zex Kalor, the Corvalian admiral who had escaped during the evacuation. He pulled her to safety, his scales reflecting the emergency lighting. "You saved the station," he stated. "Why would I let you fall?" The evacuation continued as stabilization crews fought to contain the damage. Ambassador Lisa and the Earth delegation regrouped aboard the Defiance. The diplomatic summit was in shambles, but something more valuable had emerged: evidence of a conspiracy against humanity. Security footage recovered by Nicole showed representatives from 5 species, including the Rigelians, collaborating on the sabotage plan. Their motivation became clear as Susan decrypted communications. Their alliance feared human quantum technology and sought to eliminate it before Earth could become too powerful. Abby convened an emergency meeting in the Defiance conference room. "The sabotage attempt changes everything," she stated. "We now know which powers fear us enough to resort to assassination. They will likely prepare for military action." Lisa considered the diplomatic ramifications. "We have potential allies too. The Arcturians, the Proximans, and surprisingly the Corvalians seem open to genuine negotiation." The Corvalian admiral actually saved Susan's life. Diane brought up the holographic display showing the information from the Archivist Guild. "The question of our connection to these ancient phase shifters remains troubling. The technological similarities cannot be coincidence." The meeting was interrupted as Kelly entered with urgent News long-range sensors have detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of the SETI void. That region had been declared forbidden space by galactic agreement millennia ago. Abby studied the sensor readings. The pattern matches nothing in our database but bears similarities to quantum phase fluctuations on a massive scale. The crew exchanged glances. This discovery, combined with the archivist revelation, suggested answers might lie in the forbidden zone. We need to investigate, Diane stated, but we must proceed carefully. The conspiracy against us is likely to intensify when they learn of our interest in the SETI void. Abby nodded. 6 weeks to prepare a mission. I want the Defiance upgraded with hybrid technology combining our quantum systems with components from allied species. The ship must be ready for whatever we find in that forbidden space as. The meeting concluded. An unexpected visitor arrived. Zex Kalor, under guard, requested audience with Commander Hawkins, the Corvalian. Admiral seemed changed by recent events, his once arrogant demeanor replaced by something closer to respect. The humans had transformed from laughingstock to major power in a matter of weeks. The quantum technology that had torn through the Corvalian Armada was now recognized as potentially linked to an ancient civilization that once dominated the galaxy. And somewhere in the forbidden SETI void lay answers. The battle spread across the Jupiter defense line. Earth vessels darted through the Corvalian formation, leaving confusion in their wake. The quantum drives created ripples in space-time that played havoc with enemy sensors. Each human ship appeared to exist in multiple places, simultaneously making targeting impossible. Aboard the Corvalian support vessel, Eternal Dominance Lieutenant Commander Krex watched in growing horror as the tactical display showed impossible movements. The humans are using some form of reality distortion, he reported. The flagship has been boarded and High Admiral Zex Kalor captured. The Corvalian second-in-command hissed with dismay. How can they board through our shields? Krex consulted the sensor logs. The humans appear to be partially phasing out of normal space. They can pass through solid matter. Around them, the bridge crew worked frantically to coordinate the scattered fleet. 7 dreadnoughts now drifted powerless, their quantum structures temporarily destabilized by the human weapons. The remaining vessels attempted to maintain formation, but confusion reigned on the Defiance engineer. Diane monitored the quantum core with growing concern. The blue-white energy pulsed erratically as it absorbed unprecedented levels of power from Corvalian weapons fire. Core temperature exceeding safe parameters, she reported to Abby. We need to discharge excess energy or risk system collapse. Abby considered her options. They could release the energy in a devastating attack, but that would mean destroying the Corvalian fleet entirely. Rather than annihilation, she saw an opportunity for a more strategic victory. Target the remaining dreadnoughts, she ordered. Disable their propulsion and weapons only. No destruction unless absolutely necessary. Kelly implemented the targeting solutions. The Defiance released controlled pulses of quantum energy. Each blast struck with surgical precision, temporarily shifting the enemy ship's drives out of phase with normal space. When they rematerialized, the systems remained inoperable. In the secure conference room, Nicole kept watch over the captured Corvalian admiral. His scales had dulled from their usual iridescent shine, a sign of extreme stress in his species. 2 armed guards stood at the door while Diane prepared a specialized demonstration. This is impossible, Zex Kalor muttered, his voice translator struggling to convey his tone. Your species only achieved space travel 2 centuries ago. The technological leap to quantum phase technology should take millennia. Diane activated a holographic display, showing the inner workings of the quantum drive. The Corvalian leaned forward, eye stalks extending in disbelief. What you fail to understand about humans, she explained, is that we excel at conceptual leaps. Your species advances technology through careful, iterative steps. We sometimes take quantum leaps. Outside the conference room, the battle continued. Earth vessels coordinated their attacks to minimize casualties while maximizing strategic advantage. The Corvalians struggled to adapt their tactics against an enemy that could literally be in multiple places at once. Communications Officer Maria received urgent transmissions from 4 other alien vessels that had been observing the conflict from a distance. They request immediate diplomatic channels, she informed Abby. It seems our demonstration has caught the attention of the wider galactic community. Abby nodded. Put them through, but maintain battle readiness. The view screen displayed representatives from the Arcturian Collective, the Proxima Conclave, and 2 other species Abby recognized from the earlier diplomatic mission. Their expressions ranged from shock to cautious respect. The human quantum technology was unexpected. The Arcturian diplomat stated, "We wish to open separate negotiations from the Corvalian Empire." Back in the conference room, Diane continued her explanation to the captured admiral. The quantum core began to stabilize as the fleet discharged excess energy in controlled bursts. Against the far wall, a secure container held a damaged piece of technology recovered from the Nevada desert site Zex. Kalor stared at it with widening eyes. That component, it bears similarities to theoretical designs from our most advanced research division. But the configuration is unlike anything I have seen. Diane allowed herself a small smile. That's because it's not Corvalian, it's human. She activated another holographic display showing the original crash site in Nevada. The vessel that carried this technology was not alien, Admiral. It was human from approximately 100 years in our future. The Corvalian physically recoiled. Time travel is a theoretical impossibility. Not exactly, Diane corrected. Not time travel in the conventional sense. More like a temporal bootstrap paradox. A ship from our future somehow crossed back, creating the very conditions that would eventually lead to its own creation. She pointed to the quantum core. We didn't just copy the technology. We improved it. Throughout the solar system, the remaining Corvalian vessels attempted to regroup, but Earth ships continued their precise attacks. Each disabled vessel received the same message: surrender, and prepare for boarding or maintain hostilities and be completely disabled. The choice is yours. Most chose surrender, watching in disbelief, as human boarding parties phased directly through their hulls, bypassing all defenses. Admiral Gloria Chen coordinated. The overall strategy from Earth Command Center reports showed minimal casualties on both sides, exactly as planned. The Corvalian Empire had expected an easy conquest. Instead, they faced the most complete tactical defeat in their 1,000-year history aboard. The Defiance Abbey received updates from across the battlefield. 15 Corvalian vessels remained combat-capable, but they had pulled back to Saturn, forming a defensive perimeter rather than continuing the attack. The rest had been disabled, or surrendered. Kelly monitored the enemy communications. They're in complete disarray, she reported. Some captains are arguing for immediate retreat while others want to continue fighting. Their command structure is breaking down without the High Admiral. Abby turned her attention back to the diplomatic channel where representatives from 12 species now waited. Their expressions showed a dramatic shift from the contempt displayed at the earlier meeting. We wish to understand the nature of human quantum technology, the Proxima representative stated. Its implications change the balance of power throughout known space. I believe that discussion should include all relevant parties. Abby replied, including the Corvalian Empire. She nodded to Nicole Bring, the admiral to the bridge. When Zex Kalor entered, he had regained some composure. His scales brightened slightly as he took in the tactical display showing his defeated fleet. You could have destroyed us completely, he observed. Yet you chose disablement over destruction. Why? Abby met his gaze levelly. Humans have a long history of warfare, Admiral. We understand something your empire seems to have forgotten. The purpose of war isn't to annihilate your enemy, it's to achieve your strategic objectives. Our objective was recognition and respect, not genocide. The Corvalians seemed to consider this. The diplomatic channel remained open, allowing representatives from across the galactic community to witness the exchange. The Arcturian diplomat spoke. This conflict has revealed something unexpected about humanity. They possess not only advanced technology, but strategic wisdom rarely seen in emerging species. We propose a summit at Harmony Point Station to formalize new diplomatic relations communications. Across the bridge lit up as vessels throughout the system signaled their agreement. The tide had turned completely. In a single battle, humanity had transformed from a primitive curiosity to a major power. Diane joined Abby on the bridge, her eyes on the quantum core which now pulsed steadily. "This is just the beginning," she said quietly. The Nevada technology contained more than weapons and drives. It had star charts indicating threats from beyond the galactic rim, threats that might explain why our future selves sent that ship back. Abby nodded in understanding. The laughter had stopped. Now came the hard part, building alliances, preparing defenses, and solving the mystery of why humans had received this technological gift from their own future. The Defiance moved into position alongside the disabled Corvallian flagship, its quantum field now dormant but ready to reactivate in an instant. Abby opened a channel to all Earth vessels. Phase 1 complete. She announced, "Stand by for further instructions. The real work begins now." The Corvallian Armada emerged from Lightfold near Saturn, their massive ships casting long shadows across the rings. The lead dreadnought alone measured 5 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull decorated with trophies from 100 conquered worlds. Smaller escort vessels swarmed around it like angry insects. Admiral Gloria Chen watched from the command center beneath New Geneva. Her holographic display showed the enemy formation advancing with casual confidence toward the Earth defense line established near Jupiter. 12 Earth vessels seemed impossibly small in comparison. The Defiance under Commander Abby Hawkins held the center position. Its conventional hull design gave no hint of the revolutionary technology hidden within. The Corvallian transmission came through on all frequencies. Their High Admiral Zex Kalor appeared on screen, his scaled face arranged in what passed for a smile among his kind. "Greetings, primitive humans," he said. "We have returned as promised to discuss the terms of your integration into our glorious empire." The translator gave his words a silky quality that made them even more condescending. Admiral Chen nodded to Communications Officer Stephanie Wright, who opened a channel. "We welcome peaceful dialogue," High Admiral Chen replied. Her tone was respectful, but she made a subtle hand signal to her staff. "Begin full system monitoring." Lieutenant Kelly Foster aboard the Defiance observed her tactical display with growing concern. "Energy spikes detected across the Corvallian fleet," she reported to Commander Hawkins. "Weapon systems charging." Abby frowned. "They're preparing to fire while still negotiating. Dishonorable, but not unexpected." The Earth vessels maintained formation, appearing vulnerable, and outdated engineer Diane Moss worked at her station, monitoring the quantum core installed at the heart of the Defiance. The blue-white energy pulsed gently, waiting to be unleashed. "Core stable and ready." She reported all quantum systems nominal, but dormant as ordered. The first Corvallian blast came without warning. A massive energy beam from the lead dreadnought lanced toward the Defiance. The human crew tensed, but Abby remained calm. The beam appeared to pass straight through the Earth vessel. The Corvallian bridge crew cheered at what they thought was a direct hit damage report. Abby called out, her voice steady. "No damage at all," Kelly responded. "The energy passed through our probabilistic field exactly as designed, the Corvallians believe. They scored a hit, but we absorbed the entire energy signature into the quantum core." The Corvallian admiral leaned toward his view screen, puzzled. "Why is that vessel not destroyed?" Abby allowed herself a small smile as she gave the order that would change everything. "Initiate Thunderbolt protocol. All ships." Diane activated the quantum core. The Defiance shimmered as blue-white energy cascaded across its hull. The ship seemed to blur, becoming indistinct as the quantum field fully engaged. Suddenly, the vessel existed in multiple probabilistic states simultaneously. The same transformation rippled across the Earth fleet, each ship glowing with the same unearthly energy, their outlines becoming fluid and undefined. Officer Maria Winters opened a broadcast channel to all frequencies. "You laughed at our ships," she stated. "Now observe what they can really do." The Defiance accelerated at impossible speed. The inertial dampeners compensated perfectly as the ship reached velocities no conventional drive could achieve. Within seconds, it flanked the massive Corvallian flagship, appearing to teleport rather than fly. The other Earth vessels performed equally impossible maneuvers. Some seemed to split into multiple copies while others phased in and out of conventional space. The Corvallian targeting systems went haywire, unable to lock onto ships that existed in quantum superposition. High Admiral Zex Kalor watched in growing horror as his lieutenant reported, "What is happening, sir, there? Ships are everywhere and nowhere. Our weapons pass through them or the energy is somehow absorbed." The lieutenant paused, his eye stalks trembling. "They are using some form of quantum state manipulation that our sensors cannot track aboard the Defiance." Diane worked frantically at her station. The quantum core pulsed brightly as it absorbed more Corvallian weapons fire. The technology was never tested at this scale, and she monitored the stability matrix with growing concern. Power levels rising. Beyond projected limits, she reported, "We're absorbing more energy than expected from their weapons." Abby made a quick decision. Rather than flee the enemy fire, she ordered the Defiance directly into the heart of a Corvallian attack formation. Energy. Weapons from 3 enemy vessels converged on the human ship. The Defiance shimmered, absorbing each blast, its quantum field growing stronger with each attack. "The quantum core is approaching critical threshold," Diane warned. "We need to discharge some of this energy target." The 3rd dreadnought. Abby commanded minimal force. "I want to disable, not destroy." Kelly programmed the targeting solution. The Defiance released a focused quantum pulse. The energy discharged from specialized emitters on the hull, striking the Corvallian vessel precisely where its propulsion systems were located. The effect was immediate. The enemy ship didn't explode. Instead, its quantum structure briefly destabilized, causing systems to shut down and the hull to partially phase out of normal space. When it rematerialized fully, the dreadnought drifted powerless. Throughout the Jupiter defense line, the battle followed the same pattern. Human vessels darted between Corvallian ships, their quantum drives leaving reality, distorting wakes that confused enemy sensors. Each absorbed energy blast made the Earthships stronger. The Corvallian formation began to break apart. Some vessels attempted retreat while others pressed their attack with increasing desperation. None of their tactics worked against ships that could shift partially outside conventional space. Abby studied the tactical display. The Corvallians still outnumbered them, but the advantage had shifted dramatically. "Target their flagship," she ordered. "Let's end this quickly." The Defiance accelerated toward the massive command vessel, phasing through smaller Corvallian ships that tried to intercept it. The human vessel rematerialized directly alongside the enemy flagship, its hull pulsing with absorbed energy. Security Chief Nicole Bailey prepared a boarding team. Each member wore a specialized quantum shift suit that would allow them to phase through solid matter when activated. "We can bypass all their defenses," she reported. "Team ready for boarding." "Action." Abby gave the order. "Execute boarding operation. Capture the High Admiral alive." Nicole led her team through the quantum field generator. Their bodies shimmered, becoming translucent as they shifted partially out of conventional space. They passed effortlessly through the Corvallian hull, materializing directly on the enemy bridge. The alien crew reacted with shock, fumbling for weapons. Nicole raised her hand. "I suggest you stand down," she said. Her team had already positioned themselves at key points around the bridge. Their quantum suits still shimmered, making them appear ghost-like and untouchable. High Admiral Zex Kalor found himself surrounded. His eye stalks darted frantically between the human intruders. "What are you?" he demanded. Nicole smiled. "Just humans," she replied. "The beings you thought were primitive, the ones whose ships you laughed at." Within minutes, the High Admiral was secured and transported back to the Defiance. The Corvallian crew watched helplessly as their leader was taken right through solid walls. Across the battlefield, the remaining Corvallian vessels received the news of their admiral's capture. Their formation fell into disarray. Some ships attempted to maintain the attack while others began retreating. Battle of Jupiter had lasted less than 40 minutes. Earth's quantum fleet remained intact while 7 Corvallian dreadnoughts drifted powerless. The rest of the alien armada pulled back to regroup aboard the Defiance. High Admiral Zex Kalor was brought to the bridge under guard. He stared in amazement at the quantum core pulsing at the center of the ship. His scales had lost their luster, a sign of extreme distress in his species. "Impossible," he muttered. "This technology should be beyond you. The galactic archives show no species developing quantum phase technology at your stage of development." Diane stepped forward with a cold smile. "There's a lot the galactic archives don't know about humans, Admiral. and you're about to learn why your empire made its first and last mistake when they decided to laugh at our ships. Commander Abby Hawkins stood tall on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel, Star Envoy. She tried to keep her face neutral even as the alien delegates snickered at the technical specifications displayed on the holographic screen. The Corvalian High Admiral, a 7-foot-tall being with reflective scales and multiple eye stalks, waved a dismissive limb through the projection. Their vessels were at least 4 times the size of the largest human ships, with sleek lines and pulsing energy signatures that made the Star Envoy look like an ancient sailing vessel in comparison. Look at their propulsion system, the Corvalian Admiral spoke in the translated common language. It barely achieves 0.7 light fold. Their weapons are kinetic projectiles and basic laser arrays. How adorable the gathered representatives from 12 galactic species laughed in their various ways, some clicking mandibles, others flashing color patterns across their skin. Abby felt her face grow warm but maintained her diplomatic posture. "We have only been a spacefaring species for 200 years, she stated. Your empires have had millennia. The Corvalian Admiral slithered closer, his scales catching the light in an intimidating display. And in those 200 years you have accomplished what we did in our first 50. You are children playing with toys made from scraps. The diplomatic meeting continued for 6 more hours. Each technical exchange revealed more gaps between human capabilities and alien technologies. Abby watched as her engineering team grew increasingly frustrated. Their designs, which had seemed revolutionary on Earth, were being dismissed as primitive curiosities. When the meeting concluded, the Corvalian delegation invited everyone, except the humans, to a banquet aboard their command vessel. Through the viewport, Abby could see the massive ship, its hull decorated with trophies from conquered worlds. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. Abby spent most of it preparing her report. She knew the United Earth Defense Council would not take the news well. Humanity had hoped to join the galactic community as equals. Instead, they were being treated as a primitive civilization barely worth acknowledging. The landing at New Geneva Spaceport was quiet. No fanfare greeted the returning diplomatic mission, just a handful of officials with worried expressions. The Defense Council convened in their underground chamber. 12 representatives from Earth's major regions sat. In a semicircle, their faces grew increasingly grim as Abby played recordings from the meeting. Admiral Jenkins, a weathered woman with steel-gray hair, slammed her fist on the table. They mocked us to our faces. Secretary Patel raised his hand for calm. What were their actual capabilities? Commander Hawkins Abby activated another hologram. Their ships use something they call quantum fold drives. They can cross distances that would take our fastest vessels years in just days. Their hulls incorporate living metal that repairs itself. Their weapons harness dark energy to create space distortions that can tear apart matter at the molecular level. She paused to let that sink in. And the Corvalians aren't even considered the most advanced species in the Alliance. The room fell silent until Diane Moss, the reclusive chief engineer for the Defense Forces, stood up. She was rarely seen at these meetings, preferring her underground lab complex in the Rocky Mountains. "I need full authorization," she said, her voice quiet but firm. "For what exactly?" Admiral Jenkins asked. "Project Thunderbolt," Diane replied. "Simply put, we have something they don't know about." "Secretary." Patel leaned forward. "You mean the Nevada technology?" Diane nodded. The council members exchanged knowing glances. 50 years earlier, something had crashed in the Nevada desert. It wasn't alien as first believed, but something far stranger. A human vessel from what appeared to be the future. Its technology was damaged, but Diane had spent decades reverse engineering what remained. The secretary spoke carefully. "Intelligence suggests the Corvalians see us as a potential territory to be pacified. Their cultural history shows they typically establish colony rule over species they deem underdeveloped. In 3 months they will return." Abby said their diplomatic communications indicated a follow-up meeting, but our sensors detected military scan patterns. They were assessing our defenses. The council voted unanimously to authorize Project Thunderbolt. Diane would have unlimited resources to retrofit the Earth Defense Fleet with her experimental technology. The public would know nothing. To all appearances, Earth would continue developing its seemingly primitive ships. Abby received new orders as she left the chamber. She would command the flagship Defiance. The ship looked conventional from the outside, but inside it would contain Diane's revolutionary quantum instability drive. Over the next months, Abby watched the transformation of Earth's fleet. Outwardly unchanged, the ships were gutted and rebuilt with technology that shouldn't exist yet. The retrofit happened in secret shipyards built into asteroids beyond Mars' orbit. She spent weeks learning to pilot the new systems. The quantum instability drive didn't just move the ship. It shifted it partially outside normal space, allowing it to exist in multiple probabilistic states simultaneously. The effect made the vessels nearly impossible to target and gave them acceleration capabilities that defied conventional physics. Diane explained it during one training session. What the Corvallians don't understand about humans is our ability to work with contradiction and paradox. We can conceptualize quantum states in ways their linear thinking can't match. Her eyes gleamed with intensity. We didn't just copy the Nevada technology, we improved it. 2 weeks before the Corvallians were scheduled to return, Abby assembled her crew aboard the Defiance. The ship was fully retrofitted, its bridge a seamless blend of conventional controls and the new quantum systems. Most of the crew were still adjusting to the idea that their ship could technically exist in multiple places at once. Tactical Officer Kelly Foster ran another system, diagnostic. The weapons are fully integrated with the quantum drive, she reported. When activated, they can phase through conventional shields and rematerialize inside the target. The practice runs showed 100% penetration. Abby nodded, wondering if the Corvallians had any idea what was coming. They had laughed at human ships seeing only the primitive exterior. They had no idea that inside those simple hulls lurked technology that could tear their mighty Armada apart as the Earth. Fleet took up defensive positions near Jupiter. Sensor reports came in. The Corvallian fleet had entered the solar system. 20 dreadnoughts accompanied by over 100 support vessels. They were broadcasting demands for Earth to prepare for integration into their empire. Abby smiled to herself as she gave the order. Keep all quantum systems dormant. Let them think we're exactly what they expect us to be until they fire the first shot. The trap was set. The laughing would soon stop.